The last couple of weeks weren't good for Phil Robertson, and it's a hard truth to swallow for many fans who have only seen the strong, unshakable patriarch of Duck Dynasty. Behind the public face of success, the reality of his personal life has been far from easy. In recent weeks, he has had to face the crushing weight of loss and heartache that few could have predicted. In this video, we'll explore the recent events that have rocked Phil's world and dive deep into the tragedies that have shaped the man we all know and love. It's a story of grief, faith, and resilience, and it's one that you won't want to miss. Phil Robertson, a name synonymous with Duck Dynasty, stands as a towering figure in American pop culture, revered for his wisdom, wit, and strong family values. To millions of fans, Robertson represents the embodiment of the traditional American family man, someone who built an empire through sheer grit and faith. Born on April 24, 1946, in Vivian, Louisiana, Phil's roots run deep in the rural heart of America. Raised in a modest home with a father who battled alcoholism and a family that struggled to make ends meet, Phil's early life was shaped by hardship and challenges. He didn't come from wealth or privilege. Instead, he learned the value of hard work and perseverance at a young age. He was known for his rebellious nature as a child, often getting into trouble, but also for his innate intelligence and his ability to see the world differently from his peers. It was during these formative years that Phil first developed a love for the outdoors, particularly hunting and fishing, which would later form the foundation for his family business. As a young man, Phil attended Louisiana Tech University on a football scholarship, where he played quarterback and had big dreams of playing in the NFL. However, a pivotal moment came when he realized his true calling wasn't in football but in the outdoors. This decision would lead him to a life that would eventually become legendary. In the early 1970s, Phil founded the Duck Commander Company, which would go on to revolutionize the hunting industry by producing a game-changing duck call. His invention became a phenomenon for hunters everywhere and quickly gained the attention of outdoor enthusiasts. But while his business was growing, Phil's personal life was far from perfect. His marriage to his wife, Kay, faced significant challenges, including years of personal struggles with alcohol and his search for meaning in life. It wasn't until a dramatic encounter with Christianity that Phil's life took a turn for the better. He found God, and with that newfound faith began to rebuild his life and family. As the Duck Commander brand gained momentum, Phil and Kay raised their 4 children, all of whom would eventually play a significant role in the family business. It was during the late 2000s that Phil and his family's story became a household name. The A&E reality show Duck Dynasty debuted in 2012, catapulting the Robertson family into the spotlight and making Phil a beloved figure in homes across America. The show depicted the family's quirky dynamics, strong Christian values, and deep connection to the outdoors. But behind the laughs and the wild antics, there was a deeper, often unseen struggle. While millions of viewers saw Phil as the wise, bearded patriarch of the family, his life wasn't as easy as it appeared on TV. There were private struggles, emotional battles, and tragedies that remained hidden from the public eye. Despite the massive success of Duck Dynasty, fame and wealth didn't protect Phil from the difficulties that came with being a public figure. Phil's heartache and personal challenges remained largely out of the spotlight until recent events brought these hidden struggles to light. The tragedies that Phil Robertson has faced, both as a man and as a father, have shaped the person he is today, and the heartbreak he has endured in recent years paints a different picture than the one viewers saw on TV. Phil Robertson's journey is far from ordinary, marked by moments of triumph and unimaginable loss. He is a man who, despite all his success, has faced deep personal sorrow, forcing him to confront the fragility of life. These past few weeks have been especially difficult for Phil, and the pain he's now dealing with is something that no amount of fame or wealth can shield him from. His story is one of incredible resilience and faith, but it is also one of immense sorrow. In this video, we will explore the heartbreaking tragedies that have shaped Phil's life, the battles he's fought, and the man he has become as a result. It's a story that speaks to the heart, showing that even the strongest among us are not immune to life's most painful moments. Phil Robertson's early life was far from easy, shaped by hardship, family struggles, and a sense of deep-rooted poverty that would influence the trajectory of his entire life. Born in Vivian, Louisiana, on April 24, 1946, Phil came into the world in a small rural town marked by limited opportunities and a tough, gritty way of life. His father, James, worked long hours to provide for his family, but his battle with alcoholism made it difficult for him to be the stable figure his children needed. In a household where love was often overshadowed by strife and emotional distance, young Phil learned early on that survival was not just about getting by, but about carving out strength from the trials that life threw at him. His early memories were filled with struggles, not only in terms of material scarcity but in dealing with the unpredictable nature of his father's behavior, which would often cause tension and conflict within the household. These difficulties shaped Phil into a rebellious teenager, someone who, despite his intelligence and natural leadership qualities, often found himself at odds with authority and his peers. He attended high school in the small town of Vivian, where he became known for his athletic prowess, particularly in football. His talent on the field was undeniable, and this led him to receive a football scholarship to Louisiana Tech University. It was there that he honed his skills as a quarterback, dreaming of playing in the NFL and achieving higher status. However, it was also in college that Phil faced a major turning point in his life, a shift in priorities that would set him on a path away from football and toward his true calling. Phil's early college years were filled with the typical struggles of young adulthood, trying to balance studies, football, and the pressures of his family's expectations. But despite his athletic ability, Phil grew disillusioned with football as he came to realize that it wasn't the life he truly wanted. After a decisive moment of self-reflection, he made the difficult choice to quit football and focus on other interests. This decision shocked many, as he had the potential to go far in the sport, but it also marked a key turning point in his life. Around this time, Phil began to immerse himself in the outdoors. Growing up in Louisiana, the natural world was never far from his doorstep, and hunting and fishing became more than just hobbies. They became an outlet for his pain and frustration. He began to see the wilderness as a sanctuary, a place where he could find peace, clarity, and purpose. This connection to the outdoors would ultimately lead him to create the Duck Commander Company, a business that would forever change his life. But before all that, there were years of personal struggle, especially in terms of his family life. Despite his growing sense of independence and his burgeoning interest in business, Phil's relationship with his family continued to be a source of stress. His marriage to Kay, whom he married in 1966, faced many obstacles. The couple's early years together were marked by financial instability as they struggled to make ends meet while raising children. During this time, Phil also began to develop a heavy drinking habit, a behavior he learned from his father, and one that would nearly ruin his marriage. It wasn't until a series of life-changing events, including a near-fatal car accident, that Phil began to reflect deeply on his life and question his choices. His struggles with alcohol and the weight of his past led him to a spiritual crisis, one that would ultimately lead him to seek redemption. At a low point, feeling lost and disillusioned, Phil found himself at a crossroads, one that would lead to his faith in God and a profound personal transformation. His journey into Christianity came during a period of intense self-reflection, and it was this newfound faith that would eventually help him turn his life around. Phil's personal transformation didn't happen overnight, but it was a slow and deliberate process, one that began with a recognition of his flaws, mistakes, and the destructive habits he had inherited. He turned his life over to God, and with the support of Kay and his family, began to change his ways. This was a pivotal moment in Phil's life, as his faith would become the foundation of everything he did thereafter. He started to embrace a new sense of purpose, not only as a husband and father but as someone determined to live a life that honored his beliefs. His passion for hunting and the outdoors, combined with his entrepreneurial spirit, eventually led him to create the Duck Commander Company. This business, which started as a small operation making custom duck calls, would grow into a multi-million-dollar empire, transforming Phil into a self-made success. But even as his business flourished, the scars of his earlier life never fully healed.